As thousands take to the streets yet again in Cairo's Tahrir Square, a new wave of sexual violence is being reported. According to one volunteer group fighting against harassment, there's been 46 sexual assaults during anti-government protests since Sunday. A Dutch journalist was reportedly raped on Friday. She had to go to hospital and needed surgery. During the revolution that toppled President Hosni Mubarak, Human Rights Watch says security services assaulted, arrested and tortured journalists and protesters. Now, in February 2011, American journalist Lara Logan said she nearly died when she was attacked. Another journalist, Mona El-Tai, told Human Rights Watch that she was beaten with sticks and groped repeatedly when she was assaulted. Sexual violence has long been a problem in Egypt, but many believe it has actually gotten worse in the last year. According to a UN report in May this year, nearly half of the women surveyed reported more harassment after the revolution. 44% said the level of harassment remained the same before and after the revolution. Joining me now is Heba Morayef, who is the Egypt director of Human Rights Watch. And I hate to say it, but I know you're here tonight with further terrible statistics from this evening.
Well, as of this evening, there have been at least 23 cases of mobbed sexual assault against women in Tahrir Square just behind us this evening.
Today?
Yes, today. And that brings the overall number of attacks up to 91 women who've been mobbed, attacked, sexually assaulted, and in some cases gang raped.
The United Nations say 99.3% of Egyptian women have experienced some sort of sexual violence. Those numbers are almost unbelievable.
You ask any woman who lives in Egypt and they'll tell you that sexual harassment is a daily part of women's lives. It happens on public transportation, it happens in public institutions, it happens in the street. And that ranges from sort of verbal harassment to groping, and also evolves later on into these far more serious cases of sexual violence.
Why do you think it is?
Well, I would say that one part of it is that the government has never tried to take this on seriously. There is a general climate of impunity. The perpetrators always get away with it. And I think that's why, in particular in Tahrir, where people know that the police is nowhere nearby, that's why women have been so vulnerable. But overall, the government, apart from ad hoc, piecemeal responses, has never taken this on very seriously and thought about what this means for Egyptian women.
I know that the UN, there was a UN report that called for full equality for women in marriage. The Brotherhood loudly rejected that report.
The Brotherhood rejected that report, and it's also on many occasions rejected the international human rights law framework when it comes to women's rights and the concept of equality in and of itself. That was, of course, one of the contentious points when it came to the Constitution.
They said it would lead to disintegration of society and undermine Islamic ethics and destroy the family. Do they get support here in Egypt for that view?
Well, there is a lot of support in Egypt for the fact that family law should still be based on Islamic law. I think that's, that's definitely there. I think if you put the question to women and you talk to them about their rights when it comes to divorce, their right to livelihood, their ability to provide for their family, you can translate equality in a way that is much more relevant for their daily lives.
It would be wrong for us to sit here tonight and say that no women support the Brotherhood, that every woman here is looking for a more secular, liberal, civic sort of government going forward, wouldn't it?
No, absolutely. I mean, there are many women who support the Brotherhood, who voted for the Brotherhood. There are also women who are within the Brotherhood, members of the political party at least, who've also been very active. That's not the question. I think the question is, what protection does the law provide to women who are not in power, who are not empowered,
and the answer
and
is
who have
nothing.
no choices? Yes.
How would you describe Tahrir Square and the streets of Cairo and other cities this evening?
Well, I think there's been a sense of jubilance in general that's been out there on the streets, but I think people don't necessarily know what we're getting into in Egypt. And on the other side of the city, there's violence right now outside Cairo University that's left several people dead so far. The Egyptians have experienced this moment before where they were not the ones making the choices, where the military, in a soft military coup in February 2011, took over decision-making power. And the one thing that I think is really important is that I hope those decision-makers behind closed doors actually think about the rights of Egyptians and try to avoid as much bloodshed as possible, because that is my biggest fear right now.